All right. Week 7 start sits. Sorry we missed the our reactions clip this week. New York's internet decided to fail multiple nights in a row, and if you're in New York, you know exactly what I'm talking about. With that said, we're going to jump into our start sits for week 7. Let's see, who do we have here? I'm going to pull up our quarterbacks. All right, so starter number 1, QB. We're going with the rookie phenom, Drake May. Might be getting ahead of myself with the phenom statement, but the Jags defense is pretty bad. They are not very good, and Drake May looked really good in his first game, despite the loss. He came in, he played really well, showed that he had a little bit of legs under him as well, and we expect him to come in and perform even better against an awful defense. Maybe the Patriots may come out of this with a win. Who knows? Their defense isn't very good either, so the Jags just might torch them on offense too. We'll see. Next, the sit. We're starting Drake May, a rookie. We're benching a veteran, Kyler Murray, this week. We know he's been up and down this year. Actually, like telltale sign of up and down. He's had 2 really good games and a bunch of not so great games. And the Cardinals just really have look like they haven't found themselves. That's like the best way they put it. Like they just don't have an identity. They're all over the place. And they're playing against the Chargers, which is the 5th ranked DST going into week 7. I'm expecting the Chargers to shut him down again. And I think we're going to see the Chargers actually come away with a win in that game as well. But sit Kyler Murray. I know you probably drafted him in the first 6 rounds of your draft if you took a QB early. I think this is one of those weeks you want to avoid him. Granted, you may already be doing so anyway.
Yeah, no, with Kyler Murray, it's been really frustrating because he's finished as a top 5 QB twice, and he's finished outside of the top 22 twice. And this week, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. was in concussion protocol this week. I'm not sure if he'll be cleared to play, but I think most of the time it typically takes a week before you come back anyway. So
Yeah.
kind of count him out. Uh, Chargers defense is a tough defense to put up points against anyway.
Yes. Yeah, they've been good this year.
And anyway, for running backs, for our start this week, this is a guy that he's probably available on waivers for most people, unless you picked him up already this week. And that's Tyler Goodson for the Colts. I was forced into starting him last week with buys and injuries and was actually pleasantly surprised by what he put up. He rushed for about 50 yards. He had some big plays. He was involved in the receiving game as well. And as of Thursday this week, Jonathan Taylor still has not practiced yet. So assuming Taylor is out this week or doesn't play or is limited in some capacity, I think Goodson is the running back for the Colts that you want over Trey Sermon, who just really was inefficient and not great and not involved in the receiving game. So I like him against the Dolphins this week. As for our sit, we're sitting Josh Jacobs against the Texans. Jacobs just has not been a very efficient back, and he's not involved in the receiving game. And I don't see a play script against the Texans that's going to be a heavy run script. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. The Texans put up 41 points last week. I think this is going to be a shootout, and I don't think Jacobs is going to have heavy involvement minus, maybe a goal line carry. That's the only thing I think will save him here.
Yeah, he really has just done nothing this year. People were coming to the season like, should I take Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones? And I think Aaron Jones has won that conversation so far. Granted, I know he's hurt right now, but he's just outplayed him in every step. The Packers' run game has just not been particularly good, probably because they have like 18 B-level receivers on their team. And Jordan Love just likes to air it out. And I saw today he actually leads the league dating back to last year in like touchdowns thrown. So Jordan Love's been really good, and if QB's the hot hand, you're going to throw the ball. All right, speaking of throwing the ball, let's jump into the wide receivers. We're going to go with a start that might be a little bit different because he might just be sitting on your bench, stashed away. You maybe started him once earlier this season when he had a really good game. He's been a little bit up and down, but he has shown to be coming on a little bit more. And that's Trey Tucker over on Vegas. We're taking the start against an awful defense, which is the Rams. They're not very good. We know that Aiden O'Connell is going to be the starter, but I don't think you're going to get much of a different game from him or Minshew, whoever's in there when it comes down to it. But the fact of the matter is that Devontae Adams is officially gone. This places Trey Tucker at wide receiver 2. Maybe wide receiver 1. I don't really know how you would look at that wide receiver room and really determine which one's wide receiver 1 between him and Jacoby Myers. But I like the upside here against a bad defense. I think they're going to throw the ball. Obviously, the main eater on that offense is going to be Brock Bowers. I don't foresee that changing, but I think Tucker is in store for a potential really good game. For our sit, we're going to be taking George Pickens against the Jets. Jets defense speaks for itself. I know they come up often in our videos, and there's a reason for that. Granted, last week it was not so great. The Buffalo kind of put up a little bit of a game against them. Granted, it wasn't a very good football game overall, no matter how you look at it. But we don't know who's starting at quarterback. There's talks of Russell Wilson potentially coming in to start because they want to be able to throw the ball a little bit more. Even though Fields has looked all right for the most part this year, their offense is just trash. They have not been good overall, despite Fields' numbers, which haven't been bad, which is really kind of like the bizarre thing there. It's going to be interesting, and I expect Pickens to suffer because of this, and obviously the Jets' defense just being really solid when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and Pickens suffering, I don't know if that could be any worse than his current performances anyway. At least where you drafted him, he's not putting up the numbers you'd hope. Obviously talented. I don't know if Russ is an improvement for him or not. It'll be to be determined. But I'm not playing him against Charles Gardner this week.
No, he's just, it's not worth it. You just better off avoiding him.
Yeah, no, especially against a tough cornerback matchup there and a bad Steelers offense. Mm-hmm. But for tight ends, we are starting Mark Andrews this week. He is having a little bit of a comeback tour now. He got a touchdown last week. Put up a respectable 15.6 point performance there, which made him finish as a tight end 6. It was just good to see his involvement again. He was used throughout the game. He was targeted. 4 targets, 3 catches, 66 yards. And the week before, he had 5 targets and 4 catches after putting up 2 consecutive 0-point games. So I think the usage is encouraging. They have a good matchup this week as well against the Bucks. Not that the Bucks are a bad team, but with the Ravens, you have to factor in teams that will put up a fight against them, which will force them to throw the ball. So I like Andrews this week. I'm starting him in leagues where I have him again, praying that this is the start of his resurgence here.
Yep.
As for our tight end sit, we're going to be benching Dalton Kincaid against the Titans. Kincaid has really been pretty disappointing this year, but it's kind of...
He's definitely not been tight end 1 like he was going.
Yeah, I mean, most disappointing tight ends have slid under the radar because most of them have been disappointing. Mm-hmm. But last week was actually his best week in a while. He put up 11 points, had 7 targets, 6 catches. But that seems to be his ceiling right now.
Yep.
And that does not factor in. They're now playing a tough Tennessee defense. Amari Cooper is going to come in, and I don't know if he'll play this week, but if he does, I imagine he's going to immediately command a decent target share there. So for that reason, I'm avoiding Kincaid this week, and I think he drops in my rest of season rankings as well.
Yeah, if anything, it's really a testament to taking a tight end early in a draft. Like it's just so tough to do it now because it just comes back to bite you when there's other position related players you could have taken. I know hindsight is 20/20, but this year has definitely been a pretty big highlight for that when it comes down to it. But all right, that is our video for start sits, guys. This is the route that we're going to be taking. We definitely think it is appropriate for this week 7 matchups. So we look forward to next week where we'll definitely do a little bit more of a recap and get everything in here. But we hope these sleeper guys pan out for you if you haven't been starting them. And we hope you bench the people that we're recommending here because it's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm sure you'll be benching Kyler Murray on your team too, Sam.
Well, unfortunately, bye weeks won't allow me, so I'm starting him and Daniel Jones, but rough week. I'm not expecting to win. So,
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.